track is going to go on over there. The only way we get to take that poison in and transmute it is so that it goes back out in healing, loving, compassionate words and energies to others, is to shed whatever toxic skin came with it. Whatever leaves the toxicity or the negativity or the whatever, we got to shed it like a snake skin. So I thought about in this water blessing this morning, I've been on, it was interesting because when I flew up yesterday and one of the visualizations between Joy Ma'at moving through grief and someone else, I did take the dragon form. Katrina spoke to it. And what was so interesting is the second I went up, I was like, wow, I'm usually a water dragon, but I'm really feeling myself as an air dragon. And the dragon being that I was inside of was all of the elements. And so it brought me right back to that moment and that prayer that Katrina put in this morning to feel the scales. What do the scales of my mermaid feel like? What do the scales of my water dragon feel like when they are filled up and they're cakey and, or, you know, they're cakey because the grief or the toxicity or another black person dead today with no goddamn explanation for it. Or some family having to cut their people down out of a tree in 2020, what kind of thing? That makes my scales, my water scales rise up in that place that we were just talking about, that place where we have to love those on the other sides of the bridge. We have to love, love, love as lighthouses, those lost ships before we can even see them on the horizon. We send in our light out there in hopes that they see the light of our lighthouse and can find their way out of the darkness. I hold on to this. It's my story. I'm sticking to it, you know, and apply myself into the earth on the heartbeat of the mother. Apply myself to the drum beat. I was beating these talking drums here yesterday with Timmy on her shamanic drum journey. All of the journeys were so good. I think we're going to have to do that more, is my report to the lighthouses today. I respect the mystery. I won't sit here and say I know exactly what we're about to go through, under, over, around between here and the end of July, but I know that, and I said this last night after our little dinner break, and I had a chance to hear this particular astrology report. I said the first thing that caught my attention was two things. Number one, Steve Judd he's not one that's prone to gloom and doom. He's an optimist. He always speaks to the positive. And so anytime Steve Judd start off his video saying, get a cup of tea or coffee, this one's going to be about 15, it's going to be a little long. And he didn't want to say what he said, but he also would not lie. I love a person that lives in their integrity. I love it. No matter how hard, and you could see it was hard for him. But he arrived where he arrived because he is, you know, historically, and most good astrologers do, they look at that particular lineup, that particular effect on all the divine maps and look back at it in history and see what happened and go, oh, okay. All right then. So, you know, I would, no doubt, I would come to this particular Sunday, this lighthouse report, having had that input and say, in order for us wise women to hold and tend our altars and our fires moving forward, oh, it's best to hear that information and discern for yourself. Because I said it like I was still in Louisiana with you guys. Of course, Louisiana, anytime, you know, make me think about Katrina, because of course I had two daughters that had to dive and swish and go on moving around, how that was done, because they both lived in New Orleans at the time. So it's not like I have to test my mind of what could happen here. I have daughters, children I gave birth to that understand how to back up when the Earth Mother is going to do a thing to cleanse herself and move some energy. And at the time, we might just be the fleas that get plucked off, okay? because the Earth Mother has to do some things in order to clean and renew for all of us to get to this new Earth that we know we're going to. We're not gonna carry along the dredges of these things here. That's what we hurting and crying and drumming and all that about right now. How to do the housekeeping, Sarah Dash said. Who gonna come and clean up this mess? She must have asked us about 3-4 times. Who gonna come and clean up this mess? We cleaning it up now. That's what we do. In ourselves, in our spaces, as much as we can with others, with our social distancing and in these Zoom places. It's all a bit of cleanup. And, you know, if we stayed with that, I would say that, number one, I would congratulate all of you, because unlike the people that just get a damp mop and go over the top of the floor, I have heard and felt your hearts as you were down on your hands and knees scrubbing up the lineages of anything like that that might be left in any of you. And, you know, I know what that is, honest to goodness. I know how shocking it was for me, for people to tell me the African soul of the Africans into slavery. So again, none of us, you know, let the one that live in the glass house throw the first stone. We don't know. We don't know. And the old Ladoye's line, the line of my fathers, it said these people fell into slavery because of turncoat officials. What does that say to you? I know what it said to me. That it was people within our clan inside of Ijebu, Africa, okay, that lived in our beautiful village. They said we were Oshun people of a high decor. Okay, you knew when you came upon the villages of the Oludoyes, because and everybody know me when they see me in camp at Erskills, ah, wah, wah, la, la, because we are the daughter of those people. But yeah, turncoat officials caused an entire clan. And so I say, as you are healing, you know, the thing that I think relieves us a little bit is when we look out and we can see others seeing the reflection of what we're healing in our mirror. Like they look into us and they go, oh. And so rather than jumping over where your pain is right now or what it is you're working on healing ancestrally, know that this is why the people who are in your life, and this is why the people who are gravitating toward you, because you have these similar strands that are healing together, and you help each other knock the kinks out of it. That's what we do right here. That's what we do every Sunday right here, is we knock the kinks out of each other's illusions, deception, whatever all that was. Because we want to wipe the sleep off our eyes now and see clearly going forward. See through love in our heart and our third eye and just what we speak. And to have the discipline, thank God, that if it is not love slipping off your tongue, keep your mouth shut. You ain't got nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. Just be present and maybe glow in that lighthouse light from within. Think about Earth, Wind, and Fire song, something. But don't open your mouth and cause yourself any more pain. I don't know if you know that place. Truth tellers know that place. Where it could be all truth that you're telling. I saw it in Dave Chappelle. I ain't got no more jokes left. I got truth in here. And he had to deliver it because that's just who he is. And that'll tell you the difference of the show and tell people and the real truth tellers, because the real truth tellers, no matter what kind of pain, internal pain they have to bear, they're going to weigh out two things in each moment. Let me fact check. Okay, how can I prove that that is the truth? And is the person listening? Let me see the open space in their aura that they have to even receive that truth right here. Oh, no open space? Okay, good. I'm good. How about a hug? Or in this case, Wakanda. Whatever. Maybe next week or next time I see you, one of them bomb-dropping truths that hurts in your raggedy hurt body over there. You be ready to hear that. Not everybody's ready to hear it when it's on our tongue to say it. Mm-hmm. And you know something else they've been speaking to me on that I'm going to meditate on? I don't know, but it might speak to this thing coming in July. They say there is a time that our lighthouses, just like you bring a flag down to half mast, they say our lighthouses are going to go on a low altogether. We'll talk to one another about it. I don't know what that's about, but I heard it clearly. Something that is coming up will create like a spiritual candlelight village of lighthouses that's on low. We ain't shining high beams. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll be too much, whatever. Maybe it'll be wildfires. Maybe it'll be too much wildness in the street, whatever it is. I could see that because usually I talk a lot about amplifier light. Like so many sick people go by, people who are mourning from people who've died from the plague. Goodness, so many places that in the course of a day, let alone a week, we're always encouraging everyone to build more light up in themselves and don't fall into dark despair or depression or apathy, you know. And yet, somewhere in the pit of my belly, when I reach out on the strand ahead of us, I feel like lights that are at half, you know, like a flag that's at half mast. I don't have another way to say that. Maybe we'll be mourning the old hateful, the old something of hate that's going out. We'll mourn it, give it a proper funeral. You know, funerals are for the living, not the dead. Maybe we will reach a place where we say, oh, this thing is really gone. Let's have a funeral for it. It's done. It's done. It's kind of like, I love that they did 3 funerals for George Floyd. Amazingly enough, you know what I mean? And among all of them, they might not even know how that goes back to African traditions, but we do, in fact, have 3 funerals. We have one that comes immediately after the spirit has left the body. And then we have another one about somewhere between 39 and 41 days of their death. And then we have another one, the ascension one, a year and a day later. And each of those things do a different thing for the living, I promise you. Because again, the spirit has gone on. They're in the allness. They fine. But for those that have to begin to weave something in the hole now left by their absence, okay, the family and the friends, in the sake of being good descendants and helping that person shine very brightly in the ancestral realms, we do these things together. That's right. Just like they do baby showers for pregnant women. That's right. Any gate of rites of passage, people do a thing about it. Any of them. Holidays, spiritual, birthday, all of them. We have our rituals. Let's look at those, dear hearts. Let's remember that there is power on the birth date and death date of your ancestors, if you want to take that a little deeper, Christy. Okay? If you want to take that a little deeper, up those lineages and make it real personal, since you're releasing them to move all the way into the light of forgiveness in their spirit selves. Do it on their birthday. Give them a favorite flower, a favorite drink. We are celebrating that you have finally made it into the light. Make it real. Make it real. It's just like an enormous, just a minute ago, I'm going to put it up. I took a picture with we got butterflies and umbrellas and parasols and candles and castles. And so we make it real. And our mustard seeds are here. So we have enough faith to keep us moving and going and motivated. Because this is our day job. I guarantee you that. A minute ago, it was my day job. A lot of other people ran and went to their day job. And then the pandemic, COVID, came along. And so many more of us now have a very spiritually heavy-weighted altar tending, fire tending, garden tending day job. We spoke about that. I wrote a book called Living Life as a Prayer, where, let's move past all the really fluff words of whatever we were all raised in the church. Good prayer, good prayer. Amen, hallelujah. And make the actions of our being in each day. Because what? Some people wasn't granted to see this particular day that we're in. Matter of fact, 120,000 and counting have checked out before this day that we're right here, giving celebration to the solstice and the eclipse and all types of things. And so when you make most valuable the use of that time, and that was the turning point for me as well. I don't know about you out there. I'm a Pisces, and I could get on too many merry-go-rounds at one time. And I wondered in my prayer, next to sleep time, how are you going to stop doing this? What are you doing? Are you overextending yourself? You don't know how to say no? Like, I would have these long conversations with myself. And I have really good old aunties and grandmas. They came in and said, honey, at any given moment, you can just ask yourself, is this the best use of my time? That turned a corner for me, honest to God it did, because I love to do a million things. I love just a million things I could be doing. And when that came along, I understood where my gut lived, where the whole resonating with it's time to do this or not. Time to do this. Right there in that well, for those of you that were in that ritual with Janara this morning, where we land in our will. Green Lantern, if you get confused about that, I got a movie for anything, And so Green Lantern, we want our will to be green and rebirthing and prosperous, and not move into that yellow of fear. See, all the action and the fluff in the movie sometimes get people out, they don't get it. But I watch movies from a very different perspective. I do get that. And we're going to need it. I don't have any other way to say it. I know my time is just about up, and I don't have any other way to get an emphatic, I'm holding your hands tight. If I was with you, we'd be pulling in for a group hug right here. Because something is shifting, ladies. We are not just in. He said, just say, it starts tomorrow. When we will be 6 planets retrograde until Thursday. We have moved over the 0 point in the chart of going between the most emotional sign I know. I'm a Cancer rising. I know all about that crab shell in the sun and the moon. And it's a lunar eclipse. So whatever it is, we the stout ones. We ready for it, as long as we know we have each other. Yep. And I'm going to say that because I'm saying it out loud to myself. It's not so much y'all call me if you need me, but I'm going to definitely, I think, be talking to some of y'all this week, just to anchor in, for sure. Well, Jay, wow, she waiting on me. I looked over here at the time. I said, wow, that time sure went by.
No, you got plenty of time.
Okay, because this is still on New Orleans time, so it'll totally confuse me. It says 20 minutes after 1. Okay, so she doesn't get till 2. Awesome. Awesome. Well, let me see what else that was so much to bring. Yeah, I'm gonna go there. This is back to what's very good. I don't know if we taped Joy or not. Joy Ma'at, look her up, Ma'atic Flow Yoga. She came and did movement. It was very good. Made me do it. To move yoga or moving or breathing and all of that moves grief. And so I paused right there because I said, well, there's grief and then there's grief, okay? There's grief that we couldn't even describe in the Sunday after George Floyd was dead. There's grief that we couldn't even describe when our numbers first started hitting 80,000. We was like, oh my God. And all of our nurses and frontline workers, we had to be holding strong prayers for them. I remember that. Well, here we are again, ladies. That's what they asked to come because this is a Lighthouse Report. Where can you shine your light? Somewhere in Florida, 3 to 4,000 new cases a day in the last 24-hour period. Somewhere, Tampa Hospital fill up, like where we would recognize it. And I heard that go by, but I hadn't been paying a lot of attention like that. And I heard it go by. Maybe it's Tracy, Earth Mama, that South, and she said, Florida is about to become the next epicenter. And I was like, and it hit me, and I thought about it a minute, and I thought about everything rising, and thought about the beaches, and thought about the Memorial Day celebrations, and and I went, oh. And so I wanted to bring the point to the lighthouses of what felt good, what felt really good in that visualization with joy. Because, some of you weren't there and you might be curious as to how literally that breath, that loving, I was in a hug rocking myself for a long time. I can remember that as she was moving us through it. And the more I rocked and the more I breathed, the lighter up here got from the well navel up I just got light. And I felt that density and that heaviness that we sometimes hold on to. I think I might, just go right there. Imani, are you doing the talking stick thing? I think right there, because I want this to be effective. I never talk for the sake of talking. And so spirits say, right there. There are some people on this call in this Zoom container right here, right now, that for some reason are still holding on to the density or the heaviness of what we are passing through. So I'm gonna mute myself, and you can pass the stick around, and I guess we'll come to our candor, as they say in Divergent. Thank you for your candor. If you care to share that we might heal it together, put some lighthouse love on it, that's great. If not ready for it to come up, you just go ahead and pass. But Spirit said stop, because there are some people that think and they let go of that density. And of course, you know where I'm going at, because if you don't let go of it, women, that's how you turn cancer in on yourself. So rightly so, my mother died of breast cancer. Rightly so. If I hear the Spirit say, stop, because actually there are some people who are quite spiritually congested, even though they're in the work or in the evolutions of trying to clear. So you got it, Imani.
Well, I'm gonna just speak to myself. I definitely feel that way. I feel it in my head. I feel it in my body, and I do feel like I'm. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really need to tell a lot of story about it. It's true though. And so am I hearing that this is a round of people stepping forward and saying if they resonate with that truth?
Turn it back on. I'm going to step up a minute and I heard as you started talking, I think it's Rumi. I'm going to go get those cards. Because, just as brief as you just made it, everybody just check in their inner body. If they have something that's lingering, speak it into this container where we have prayed much over water and releasing and a lot of things today. And then we're going to shuffle and pull a card, because they say there's exercises in there. That's why I'm going to get that particular oracle so that we can move it today. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jerry, you want to speak?
I would love to speak into this container that we're doing this in this way, in which here at my home, doing all this work and this good energy, and in my interactions with my son, who is just a reflection, who he says, Mom, I'm just of this generation. We were born into this time, and we know that we are doomed from the actions of our ancestors just preceding us, from our parents and our grandparents. And just feeling that was where I was for the till I actually put my video on. Like, so here I sit with that density of reflection back of, you're just delusional. Like, of course that's what's needed. And it's delusional to think that can happen. So I feel that in my body because I birthed this being, and it just, yeah. So I'll just say that much for this minute.
Just bring yourself forward when it's your turn to speak.
I process things slowly, and it's often made me feel very stupid in my life, but I'm honoring that, like, there are deep wells in me. Like, there is an underground, watery, like, fluid system that does feel dense. There was a moment I felt like we shine light on it in this morning ritual where I felt like it was like mossy swamp. But I have no words. I have no words for it. It's just simply, it is congested. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have to share. My swampy self.
Awesome. Scout.
I feel like I just want to listen right now, Imani.
Got it. Feel free to come on in if you want to come in. Jonah, if you want to put anything in the text, if you're hearing us, I don't know, you're welcome to.
I'm just putting gratitude out
Hey,
there.
yeah, I can.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
I'm just putting gratitude out there, and thanks to all you sisters, recognizing I'm the only male in the room and tried to pull more of my brothers into this. It's just a very busy time and kind of like pulling teeth sometimes. But I am so grateful to learn so much and be welcome in Hajia. And and sharing this week's been really special and moving, and been really appreciating the power of all of our voices, both individually and together. So thank you.
And are you feeling stuck in any way? The way Sangoma was talking?
For sure. I'm very grateful to have, I mean, I'm very open about this. I have a very good therapist, and a lot of what Sangoma said was reflecting on me, how I feel like I'm putting things down or letting go of spiritual burden, and then I'll realize that it's still kind of hanging on by a chain. And creativity and this has really helped with that. But it's also an acceptance of, even when you let it go, it's never going to be a constant upward or shining light like the lighthouse, like you said. You feel in this dimming, but you have to embrace both. That's really, it's both difficult and really exciting.
I'll share. Let me know if I cut out at all. Okay.
Not really. You're breaking in.
Yeah, I can remind.
I'll cover for my sister. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm in a timeless place for sure, and I'm coming in late, so my apologies, and thank you for welcoming me now. I want to share that I've been feeling in a stuck place for months, and I've been working really, really hard on intentional thinking and law of attraction type work. You know, I'm feeling like I'm a creative being. We are all creative beings. I'm creating every time I think something. And it's okay to be wherever I am. And I have choices about where I put my vibration and my thoughts. And I want to be creating the dream. And I've been working with gratitude exercises to focus my attention on what I'm working toward, not what I'm working against, what I'm wishing for, what I'm wanting, what we're wanting to create. So it was really hard to turn around my lower vibration and raise my vibration. And it's still hard, but making it a daily practice has made it easier. And I am seeing immediate results, and I'm believing that much bigger results, global ones, are possible. Jonah, I covered for you.
Thanks, love. I'm not going to speak because it's so steady. I'm texting. I'm in here.
I want to take a moment, if I may, to acknowledge. So grateful you brought this up, and I put in the chat, like I had an awareness for myself that I feel may be helpful for lighthouses in this moment during a sound meditation yesterday. And it's the work we've done to have that toroidal fold with the hollow. And the awareness that the prayer, this really big prayer that is going out for awakening in the field, is like, well, we all know awakening comes with the shedding of the things that keep people from awakening. And the reasons people, my sense to turn towards Zen, it's like, oh, there's light showing me the places that I have been holding, all the things we now even saying we're still holding, the shame and the grief and the fear, anger. Yes, I just got, blowing up at my son right before this call. And an awareness that practice of the kind of fire you were saying, like that bright fire that shows the light. And then there's also, I was feeling like, right, there's going to be all of this that's put in the field of people beginning to shed all of the things that happen in the awakening process, and then becoming channels for moving that through the fire or coming this way and grounding it in the earth. And I could feel that was like in the meditation, like not that like bright, shiny, oh my gosh, life is glorious and I am all joy. It was like, okay, I'm going to be here and help to just like consume on a much larger scale than I ever have. That is the ask, is to when there I feel that heaviness in the field, to say, right, on behalf of all who are now working on releasing these things, I just have that like a, like the tamp down furnace that has to burn all night. That fire, like that there's always that fire, enough embers to just keep moving and consuming the things that need to be cleaned up here. That's, for me, that was what I received yesterday. And it was a completely different feeling, because I felt during the meditation, I went like, oomph, and this bright light came into this very different space inside myself. And so you were speaking directly to that, and I'll just share that came, and I was like, oh, I think that's useful information. So thank you so much for bringing it here.
Thank you, Jerry.
I feel really moved to put a piece in here, Imani, that because it's right there on Jerry's thought, because I'm like a radar in here, constantly searching the shadows in my own being. And being, the only African on this call, I'm going to go ahead and speak that because it came up so big yesterday. And thank y'all for doing that work on the Blue Bridge, but it sure came up. And I want to lay that down as a part of when I look at where the congestion is in myself that might still be stuck or resistant. There's a lot of words you could use in there. Even though, as I said to them, my husband has policemen in his family. You know, I have a daughter that I've known since she was a little girl. She's a policewoman in New York. And so, no, of course now we don't hate all people in uniform with guns. But, you know, and hate is a strong word I try never to use at all. However, the culture of the fraternal brotherhood of policemen, you know, is a real issue for me. And then somebody else said it in the summit yesterday. Oh, John Lee Rucker. Yeah, he sure did. He said, you know, I've never been a fan of police. And that's my first line as well. If one of my personal daughters came to me and said, Ma, I think I want to be a policeman, I would have said, no, not allowed. You know, it just would have been a finite discussion. And if she felt called to God to do it, then, you know, like any other good mother, I would find my way to accept it. But what I'm putting right here in the altar in the middle of this thing right here, since we dump in places where we're stuck in spiritual congestion, I want to dump that in not only for myself, but for a lot of people of color that I know that would be very resistant. You know, it gets all in that defund the police department and all like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ashe. I want to welcome Timmy to the call. If you would like to come and step in, and then I also have a couple of comments in the text that I want to read into the circle at an appropriate time. Welcome, Timmy.
Hi, I'm just joining in. My name is Timmy, and I'm here because of Grandmother Sangoma. And so yeah, I'm just here to have an open ear and to listen. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you want to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, the question on the table that Sangoma is bringing to us, are we feeling spiritually stuck in any kind of way? And to bring that into the circle. So I'll give you a moment to think about it, and I'll read these other comments, and if you want to come back in, you're welcome to. Jonah shares that I've been feeling two ways. I feel a sense of stuckness in that the way I learn and clear is by speaking, by letting old ideas be voiced. So I witness old ideas and conditions and beliefs and mindsets that dictate my reality. And I feel like I haven't yet found safe and receptive spaces to talk through what is in my subconscious and lineage. And then Joan shares, have had to work on feeling the rage without being the rage, grief without being the grief, despair without being the despair. The work towards earth healing seems stuck with all the other crises that are happening. So give a moment for a space, and then we'll turn it come back around to you, I think, unless if you want to speak into the circle, please do. Timmy, you're so welcome.
I think I would like to speak. I've been watching live, and I'm feeling very emotional listening to you all. I have been into the medical freedom activist for a few years, and since when COVID hit, I've let fear run my life. I can't say run my life. I've really let fear just keep me home. I have a 2 and a 3-year-old. I'm also married to a Haitian man, so I'm also an extreme starseed, empath, all the above, and I'm home because of who I am, protect my energy. But in moments like I was feeling this morning and then yesterday, I'm extremely stuck. Cognitive dissonance, Because again, I'm an activist, you know, and when COVID hit, I haven't worn that hat and I'm feeling helpless. And my husband and my kids, they're just being on the call with Sangoma and JWoww, just it gives me peace. You know, I have fear for my kids. As a white woman, I don't know what it's like. I realize I have that white privilege. And I think that because of that, my fear is much stronger because I don't know. I don't know what it's like, you know. I was on a call with JWoww recently, and, she was saying how fearful she is of, officers and police going in. And I don't know. I will walk into a police station alone, you know. I had a neighbor growing up as a police officer, amazing police officer. So some of it is my ignorance of just not understanding, and some of it is just I'm never going to understand. So I guess I'm covering so much, and it's just I'm feeling very emotional because of I can't leave my house because of I absorb so much of that energy, and there's so much hate, and there's so much tension, and it affects me. It drains me. It gives me a headache. It gives me literally the tightness in my chest, So I spend outside. I sit on the grass like I am now, and I mean, I'm thankful for all of you. I'm extremely thankful for Laura Joseph. So that's all I got for now. I know I covered a lot, but I really appreciate it, listening and being there.
Forgive me for just jumping in. Heather, I didn't know if you'd see it if I put it in the chat. I just want you to know that I'm a white woman who married a Haitian man too, who's an activist. So, and my son is 19, almost 20. So if you want to connect, please look me up.
I would really appreciate that. I mean, JWoww and I are going to connect eventually. And I'm stuck. That's really my bottom line. I'm an activist, but I've been home. I can't leave. I got to protect my energy right now. I got to protect. I work at home, but I'm also with my kids all the time. So I need to give my kids everything I can. So I appreciate it. I definitely would like to connect with you.
Heather, first of all, my youngest daughter's name is Heather. I have 3 daughters. I want to offer you before I read what Rumi, and they flew out. I was sitting here shuffling. I think Jonah was talking. And they flew out too. And so before I read that, Spirit says that you like I, because I have a compromised immune system, there's 1,000 reasons. I have no intention on dying on a ventilator or going back to the wheelchair. That's not going to happen. So I go out about once every 7 or 10 days. And believe me, I was a person that could be in 3 states in 1 week prior to this. Ask anybody. And what I heard so clearly, every time that word can't come out of your mouth in terms of your activism, it is the transmutation. That's all you have to do, because you are the creator goddess within yourself. And all you have to do is grab that passion and that fire and that drive that was like so alive in you when you were moving and in your complete mobility and freedom, and go, okay, like knitting or weaving or crocheting. How do I turn that into this out of my house where I don't have to? Because I did it. I'm sitting before you doing it. And yes, it does involve about 8 to 10 Zoom calls a week. And it involves me holding and knitting and weaving this web of people that I would normally see at least once a month. I haven't been up to the mountains in Asheville. I have a house made up in Asheville up there. Me and Alice and Kristen, we would just be rolling. But I can't jump out like you. I can't just jump out like that for all those reasons. Like why I stopped going to malls like probably 15 years ago. Because the further of the evolution of an empath, that's what you learn. You do learn where you will go and pick up other people's darkness and negativity. And yes, it happened to me just in Louisiana, because I didn't even think about it. So people were so afraid with the masks and the lines there. I mean, I'm telling you that little dollar store wasn't 2 blocks from my daughter's house. Nice walk in New Orleans. I got back, I had a banging headache, like next to a migraine, okay? I don't get headaches, I definitely don't get migraine headaches. And so I picked up just that quick, that heaviness of everyone's fear and all that. So that's what it is, and I think, well, we'll see. These are both divine, but that's the answer that I'm giving you to think about as your ears drink in what's about to be said in here. Go, oh yeah, that's right. Batter is batter in the cake bowl, and then you put it in the oven, and it comes out a cake. All I have to do is put my activism into this container, and it'll show me how I will do until I am more active. And you know what I mean? You'll see it. I believe that. So anyway, okay. The 2 cards that flew out, and this is the Rumi Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild, and she's just fabulous. I have like 3 or 4 of her decks. The Celestial Rose of Ma, like the end of my name. I say that all the time. Sangoma, M-A, Ma. Cancer, sign of the mother. Ma. The Celestial Rose of Ma jumped out on the vibration of 10, which of course is a 1 in a new beginning. How about that? Okay, so Irizu, I should have got my glasses from the other room. Let's see. The taste of bitterness becomes sweetness in love. The searching in the dark finds the light of faith revealed in love. Love transforms thistles into jasmine. Love layers heaven and gifts us with wings to soar into its mystery. Imagine that. Imagine wanting to soar into the unknown. No fear. If you soaring, you're not afraid. Love transforms our every thought into a desire of the heart. Oh, love, how divine is your luring. Beauty flows from your unseen face. Your very nature is radiant with joy. You manifest, vibrate, use in every flower. Your touch dazzles all creation. That's one of my favorite words, dazzles. You know, I remember that. I remember in the time travel, y'all hadn't seen Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. Put it on your list. And there's a point in there where they're going right between time, and the dude over there, that's what he said, dazzle me. It was so good. Your touch dazzles all creation. Every particle is attracted toward you, longing to unite and dwell in you. What an answer is that, huh? And so it says the Divine Mother today in this beautiful sun and moon in Cancer offers us a rose. How rich that gift might be. We tear our flesh on its thorns. How many good flowers could we get today, ladies, that wouldn't have thorns? Isn't that what we're talking about now? I know some people, you know, people that have them thorn clippers, they won't even set roses out unless they done clip the thorns off of them. Yes. How can I be tentative? That's what we all asking. How can I be tentative in my approach? My senses are drenched in beauty, and I long to inhale exquisite perfume, to reach for the velvet dew of petals. I want that because Kathleen and Solstice, they all moved us through those rose petals earlier this morning. How beautiful was that? But I wanna move right there because, see, you know, you read a lot of poetry things and people might go by them. This was the answer. The answer said, when we feel that heaviness or that stuckness or that frustration or that resistance, that our senses, engage your senses to smell, to be drenched in the beauty, and almost inhaled the perfume. How many of us even know what the perfume of peace looks like? What does the perfume of compassion smell like? I think we have to do that. I know I'm trying. I got fragrance things coming up. I'm gonna get more. That's my piece. Is that when I put this healing work into the earth, Mother, in my conversations, after all these words and Zoom calls have ended, I be trying to be with the energies of the earth that are going to call the butterflies and call the dragonflies and call the hummingbirds that come to my lantana every day. Because it's that quickening. You know why, girls? It's that quickening on their wings. The damselflies, all of them. That shudders like people clap when they're happy. Shudders, that awakening. We need it. And we need it. Because some people that remain asleep right here, I'm just saying, that's the, okay. Some people that choose to look away or remain asleep, they're really comfortable in their slumber. Lord have mercy. I hate to be startled. I don't like to have things come up on my blind side. So the other one, and there's a whole thing, and let's see, because I promised y'all that I would go to the exercises. That's what I love. And let's look at that ritual for what we just talked about, how to have our heart completely open to receive the thorny rose from the celestial mama on this day as the sun and moon move into Cancer. And we rolling right up on JWoww. Okay, so the sacred honoring ritual for this is, okay, you have to listen because there's a lot of direction. Those of you who's taking notes, it's not long, but there are specific things to do. Place your hands in an open, palmed, upward facing posture at the front of your chest, as if open and ready to receive. Say the following. Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, guide the spiritual gift of the Divine Mother, the blessing of the celestial rose of Ma, into my open hands and my open heart, that I might know myself to be a cherished, holy child, holy, H-O-L-Y, and holy, W-H-O-L-Y, child of the universe, with my life unfolding according to sublime grace. One of my morning prayers while I be out there watering my flowers, please let me just move through this day with grace and ease. I never forget that prayer, because God for grace. You can't, there ain't even nothing more to say or do, but for grace. May I be blessed to release pain and be open to joy through merciful compassion, so be it. Close your hands in prayer at your heart and bow your head. You have finished your sacred honoring ritual. Maybe I'll type that in somewhere, because I know y'all might, you might have got the general gist of it, but here's my point, and I say it to people that I work with all the time. And God said, let there be light. And the tongue is the littlest member, but it wields the most power. You can't just think a thing. That thing that's in your heart that you thinking, we ain't left this conversation. Why is the heaviness or the stuck still there? And here's the reason, girls. It's a reason. I didn't say it was the reason. I said it's a reason. Is that you can't think a thing and necessarily have it come to pass or manifest it, because it's not legal in the earth realm. You got to understand free will. And so when you reach out there with this vibration, I'm talking to you now, you hear as my voice, and God said, let there be light. God didn't think there should be light. Said. Like oral histories, like storytelling. the power of this vibration right here, which is the divine moving through sound waves that we hear it as we do. The moment that you do that, create a chalice in front of your heart and open up. And as I said it to somebody I was working with the other day, I said, I don't know what drove me to this point, but I remember when I was in my old ancestor house down there in Coosawhatchee, South Carolina, house that on 160 years old, used to be an old indigo farm, built before the turn into the 1900s. And for whatever reason, I was just done. Kind of like black people are now. I was just done. I don't know what was up. But my Orishas were in like a little half closet in them old wraparound porch, big houses, big 30-foot ceilings. And my practice, I was so done that my practice for every morning, all I knew, okay, forget the 23rd Psalm or anything else that I even might have thought I was praying. Get up, go ahead and go to the bathroom, and then come right here and kneel and bow my head, just like she just said, bow my head. And I say, if anything or anybody is no longer for the highest of this good, of this destiny walking forward, you have my permission to remove it now or remove them now. If they are not aiding the mission and are hindering the mission, and you need my permission here in earth to connect with the powers in the spirit world, let me give you that permission right now. I don't even know when I stop. I know it was longer than 3 months. I get up every morning. Because I meant for it. I was just at that place where I was tired of being combated or confronted with things that seem like, you know, all them things that glitter ain't gold, seem like somebody is your friend or your alliance, or they want to do this or do that, but you ain't going no further. The cart ain't moving. The wagon ain't moving. So I just prayed it away in 6 months. I sure did. At least. I don't even know, remember, but I know that something in me got disciplined. That I did that every morning, and I offer that to you all in whatever your words are, your meditation. We got bubbles here. We opened some of the love with yesterday, blow bubbles. I don't know what it is. Go down by the water. I don't know what it is, but I do know you got to let it go. Know why? Because it's incoming. Hello. That's the first reason. Sangoma is telling you that none of us need to be carrying no more old baggage at this time, because in a minute you won't have nowhere to put it. How about that? How about that? And I know it's time for JWoww. And I've enjoyed it. And before we leave, and we're not leaving, we're going to stay here and give our greeting to JWoww, even though we got to go back over to our own summit, continuing this evening. I'm a caller. Let me say that. I'm not going to say it to y'all in fluff and not pick up my phone and reach out to Alice Dixon and let her know she was missed here. And yet we all support her and backing up to breathe. Because if you feel the weight of your service is like that knee on the neck, and you have to take that knee off the neck, you have every right to do so. So I just wanted to speak that, having come in on her early time this morning. I wanted to speak that into place and to encourage all of my European sisters. Most of you have, I'm sure, read My Grandmother's Hands work. But that's the point. If you read it, great. If you haven't read it yet, you should, okay? Because that little aspect right there of people of color who love the work, who love the bridges that we're building, but they can't breathe no more if they have to hold your hand through walking through the work. They can't do it. They can't do it. And again, we said last week, we mentioned, and if I don't know why, maybe Tulsa's up, or maybe you just don't know, or maybe this week you actually have a yearning to just visit some of the pages of the iceberg of what it's looked like for people of color in this country for 400 plus years. We do have an email that can be sent to you, and that will reflect some of that information. And yes, it is horrible to watch. Yes, it is. What a privilege for you just to watch it rather than to have lived it or to know people in your family that lived it. So with that, JWoww, you there, girl?
She's not here yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
anybody want to reflect then? I always feel like I be talking too much.
Timmy, come on forward. Just take yourself off mute.
Grandmother Sangoma, thank you so much. Ah, um, I'm gonna make this short as possible, but when COVID first started, I was like in a place of despair, and I was called to go within. And I spent 3 days silent meditation by myself in my home, living with 17 people. They gave me my space to silently be by myself and go within, because there was nowhere for me to go but within. And I got over the fear of COVID. Then George passed. And it was so painful. And that fear came all the way back again, but worse. And I wanted to go within again, but the Spirit said, no, you can't go in this time. You cannot go in this time. And it was around that time that I had my call with you, and you said, take your drum. And that first week of the protest, I took my drum to the protest. And I beat my drum with the drummers, and I felt free. I was no longer stuck spiritually. And a friend of mine spoke to me, and he said, why aren't the people using their spirituality to fight these battles? Why are they going out to protest? Why aren't they using their energy to go and do offerings to the ancestors? Why? And I didn't know why, because that's what they did in the Haitian Revolution. And this is what we're doing. And I'm so thankful for you, Grandmother Sangoma. And I have been like doing my part, coming to my altar. I'm in my altar room right now on this call. And last night, after I came off, before the Soul Summer Summit finished at 7 o'clock, I did a breathwork ceremony. And it came so clear to me, the Spirit was telling me that somewhere along the line, there was a lot of sacrifices done for greed and for power. Sacrifices were made. They came so, they were talking to me. And there's some people still under the spell of those sacrifices. And it's being lifted up now, that spell, but there's so much work to be done. But it came so clear that we are all one. And they were talking to me, and I was going to talk about it when I came back on the Soul Summit, but it's meant to share it now. And we are all one, but somewhere along the line, someone wanted so much power that they sacrificed us so much blood for that. And they got it. They definitely did get it. And slowly but surely, everyone is being freed and being lifted off that spell. They're being lifted off that spell. And we are all those lighthouses bringing everyone back to remembering who we are, back to remembering that we are all just one. I'm still processing everything that came.
Your final words were with us were, I'm still processing everything that came, and then you blipped out and blipped back.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi just said, okay. But I wanted to share that, and this was a time to share it. But that veil is being lifted, and it's true that revolution will not be televised. It's what we're doing right now, and it's the healing work that we're doing right now. And thank you, Grandmother Sangoma. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Timmy. It was such a wonderful, wonderful drum journey you did with us yesterday. We were aching and aching for Imani White to come on in with her drums. We don't know. Maybe it could still happen at the Elder Circle this evening. But thank you for the space that you held. And you know, that is power, honey. When to know. This is what they say. A wise woman knows when to speak and when not to speak, when to be in the front and when to be in the back. And when we have to go forth is when we have to go forth. Go ahead, put on the whole armor of God and get to going. So I love you, love you, love you. This daughter's born on my exact birthday. You're looking at twins. I bet you didn't know that. We're both born on February 26th. We are mirrors of one another. And it's so great to have her in my life. Truly, truly, truly.
Thank you. And I want to recommend what I have been doing to also be centered. I've been doing the seed mantra, the bija mantra every day, aligning my chakras. I'm singing the song of the chakra as well with all the other practices that I've been doing because I was stuck. But after I spoke to Grandmother Sangoma and I sat with my drum and I've been beating, my fingers has been not feeling numb as much as the spirit was saying, go and do.
We do have some more time here in that we do not have Miss Jawa with us. I'm texting in the background, and so Sangoma, would you maybe, what would you like? Would you like music? Would you like
Well,
conversation?
I didn't get to read the honoring ritual for the second one, I realized. So
Awesome.
since we have a few more minutes, well, let's take a look at the honoring ritual. Or did I even get to the second one? The second one was right where Christy was talking, and I was thinking how yesterday we got to that place of the yin and yang and how to balance the dark with the light. And so sacred union was the second card that was pulled. Only the oneness of love and the lover is eternal. Only the oneness of the love and the lover is eternal. Surrender your heart into this union, for all else in the world is momentary. What is it? Say momentary. Yeah, momentary, not temporary, momentary. And so we know what that's about. We know magic speaks, so I'm just telling you because it's like 2 pages there. But yeah, it speaks of all things in balance, like a yin and yang symbol. Like where's the dark and light? Where's the masculine and feminine? Where are both sides of the discussion? Where are both sides of the bridge? Okay, it is that, and we know that this is a time. If we didn't know why is it buckling in on itself, is because we have arrived at the place of the resolution of duality. Where you can't think a thing and say something else. You can't say a thing and mean something else. That's gone, girls. That's gone. Okay? Yep. So this honoring, how do we do this? How do we bring ourselves into more, as it just told us? How do we surrender into the sacredness of the love itself? Unconditional and the lover, what it is to be the lover, what we were saying earlier in this call, what Katrina was saying. How in the world, how do we do it? If that man with his knee on George Floyd's neck walked into my house right now, could I do it? Love him like I love y'all on this call. You have to test yourself every now and then, and just because if not, you be lying to yourself. And so place one hand on your heart and the other is outstretched before you as if to place it on the heart of another. Have you ever done that? That's an awesomeness where you can feel that heart of the other, okay? And since I called him here, for what reason? It must be so I could do this. So I could put my own hand on my own heart. And this hand right here is going to those that in their lostness commit murder. And so we shall say out loud then, through the grace of Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, I call upon my true beloved now to be at one with my heart purpose. Through divine grace, our sacred union is now sanctioned and blessed. Okay, wait a minute, stop story. Because I've done this before, and this is the only time I've read this. So, yeah, well, here's a personal space from the life of Sangoma back when she was a big exec at Cox Cable in New Orleans and was moving through a very, very, very bad marriage to an alcoholic and a gentleman, the father of my two youngest children with many problems. And long story short, at the other end of almost losing my life on a highway in Hartford, Connecticut, at the hands of this drunk driver at the wheel that was father of my two youngest. And so we just threatened him. You know how you, well, maybe y'all don't know. But if you're at the end of a crucial scene where you see your life moving before you and you think, what shall I say in this moment? And I looked and I said, if you leave my children here motherless, I promise you I will come from the other side and haunt your ass every day you live. That was what I said just before my nose got broke. And the next morning, back in my house, him in jail, I was searching because any mother doesn't want to be navigating going to a pawn shop to buy a gun to kill the father of her children. That's probably not the best thing to wake up with. And I did. And so after, two ministers from New Orleans called me and they were like, oh, God's going to raise you up. You know how they do. You know, God's going to raise you up. You might think you're going through this and there's no hope or anything, but you just went through it so you'll know how to minister to couples in trouble. I was like, yeah, okay. And then when I hung up from them, I prayed with them. And when I hung up from them, I got to this place right here. And I understood. Because where the Spirit, Holy Spirit, or whichever spirit it was in the moment came to me, it came to me like at my daughters, and they were all young. They were in New Orleans at the time, thank God. They weren't in that hullabaloo that was going on in Connecticut. But like their Sweet 16 party and their graduation and their weddings, like all flew boop by, like, whoa. And they said, now, think about it. How can you ask your daughters to have such a happy day if they have to step in to a tension and a division between you and this person that just tried to kill you? What are you going to do with that? And I went right to this place right here where I knew that the truth inside of me, I was still on the pawn shop and the gun. But I did understand as long as I have breath, that the God I know, or the more, I said, well, I tell you what, if you could just help me, I will turn the apology or the forgiveness that you want me to have for my children's father over to you so you can flow that divine love through me and make me feel it for the sake of my children, because they deserve, they don't know anything about it. They deserve, all being girls, to walk into any experience and not have the embarrassment of where it's one parent or the other, or feel sad or feel pulled or feel conflicted. This is a true story. Both my husbands sitting in there and Glenn Ferdinand walked my daughter down at her wedding in the Grill, Jamaica. I got pictures. See, so I can remind myself of the amazing miracle of prayer. Because on the day that I was sitting there with my nose broke, not figuring out on my way to the pawn shop to get a gun, because I had already said to him, if I even see your shadow, I'll shoot. That God can change your heart, right in this spot right here that Rumi is talking about. That sacred union of love and the beloved. And in the name of my daughters, and in the name of everything I know to be true in all of their children now, and the children that would want to say Papa Glenn and know him as a good person or whatever, for me to just be able to leave my hands up off of that and leave my open heart on the table in the name of my family, to not carry that hate that I was feeling that morning when I woke up with my face rearranged like that. So the ritual goes like this. I call upon my true beloved now to be at one with my heart's purpose. Through divine grace, our sacred union is now sanctioned and blessed. This is you and your enemy now. Don't get it twisted. Okay. The love in my life swells to overflowing, and I do not try to contain it. I am satisfied to be washed away in bliss, and I serve the great beloved in this divine romance, offering my heart to the one great love through which all other love emanates. I love it. I'm going to have to read this again, man. Offering my heart to the one great love through which all other love emanates. I am love. I am united, heaven and earth, conjoined in passionate devotion to the great beloved. Love fills my life in all the ways I need, and I am graced by divine blessing to rich. Is that right? R-I-C-H. And I am graced by divine blessing to rich. Thank you. So it is, or so be it. And place both hands. Remember, one was outstretched to your beloved. I'm going to do this. Work on some folks so I can get on out there between here and November. Place both hands on your heart and rest for as long as feels good for you. When you are ready, simply open your eyes and place your hands in the prayer position briefly. Then on your head, you have finished your sacred honoring ritual. There's Alana Fairchild, and the other one I have is not my eye. It's like a phoenix deck. And I just love those rituals because, you know, reading all the good hope of a card is one thing. But when she, like grandmother's hands, can move you through what might be stuck in certain organs or ancestral muscle memory or Akashic records, we talked about that yesterday, it's best to go ahead and get it on out of there. It is. It can't do you no good. It is not the most productive use of the space of your body temple. Don't leave them corners unswept. My grandmother used to talk about that when they would take the incense through the house. They go to all the corners. They go, you know, them deep, dark, demonic spirits be hiding up in the corners. Get in them corners of your own body temple, your earthly temple, and do the house cleaning. That's all we got to do. Some rough stuff's going to go by, but like good, wise women, we keep sweeping it forward, or like with this hose here every morning, spraying water or blessing ourselves with the waters. Water has no enemies. Did I say that? And then I'm done for today. Water has no enemies. If ever you get lost, you really think about that. Ice, steam, rain, rivers, oceans. Okay? Nope, don't have any enemies. It does not. It can go up, around, over, under, through. It can change the shape of a rock. Water does not have any enemies. I love it as a Pisces. I told you I already lived there. So yeah. I see Katrina. I haven't seen JWoww come in here. Oh my goodness, what's going on, Katrina?
Well, I think that we are in that tech wobble because a couple people were having a hard time getting in, and so it's we are in that. So I have not heard from JWoww. Just hoping everything is okay and that it's just a glitch in the tech system. So we have some time here, and I know Jerry was asked if she wanted to play flute for us, which would be beautiful, and I just want to check in of where the energy. I was just on a phone call for a few minutes, so I'm just kind of jumping back in, and if we're kind of in a flow of where we are now, that's great, and if we want to shift gears to the flute, we can do that too. So I'm wondering how things are feeling right now, Sangoma.
Oh, I've been waiting all weekend to hear Jerry play the flute, so I don't have no problem with that, okay? And I didn't even know she was way out there, and I kept shooting her times, and she must have literally thought I was out of my damn mind. I thought she was up here in North Carolina. Last place I saw was up there at the Leaf Festival. I did not know she was out west in a different time zone. But yeah, that feels good to me. Sometimes we feel like it's just too many daggone words in the room. And that's why I be thankful for the handpan and the flute and the drum. Just help us out, help our hearts out. So I think that'd be good, Katrina.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sangoma. So many blessings to you and the weaving of the Lighthouse Summit here. I'm happy to see Timmy. I'm glad you made it in.
Did you get that message about the changeover? Because I wouldn't want you to put Raven Mermaid at Hotmail up in the chat room. I definitely meant to tell you that, or at least text you that. We had to shut that whole thing down, another story. And so now it's Kindred of Sangoma at Gmail. Do I need to put it in there? I can.
I think I got it.
Okay. Yeah, because you send the link there. Same one.
Got it. All right, good. We'll update that. Thank you, Sangoma. Great. So yeah, I'm going to be putting that link in the chat here as well as on our live stream for reciprocity and gratitude to give to Sangoma for her energy and for her time for being here. It's so welcome.